Hi Good morning เอ่อเป็นไงกันบ้างครับง่วงไหมตื่นกันยัง Yeah I understand me too it's early in the morning even for like Saturday so welcome to my talk this is how Kotlin met Flutter and my name is Travis Subannaphong แล้วก็สวัสดีครับอย่างเป็นทางการอีกครั้งหนึ่งผมชื่อทาวิทนะครับชื่อเล่นชื่อพี่ครับเจอกันข้างล่างก็ทักทายกันได้เป็นคนปกติครับน่าจะโอเคครับก็ right now I am working as a senior Android engineer at Fastwork we are the number one freelancing platform in Thailand Woo! and so you might have seen me around the community I'm the admin of Kotlin group the Facebook group and I also help admin moderate Flutter group and you might have seen me from blacklensprop.com, which is a blog. We write about Android development and Kotlin. And even though this day I haven't write for a while, but we still have other writers. It's good stuff there. Check it out. Okay. So let's get back to the topic. So since Flutter is kind of new, so I'm going to give you a short introduction to Flutter, okay? So, sorry for the bright screen here, but this was taken from the Flutter.dev, their website. So Flutter is Google's UI toolkit for building beautiful natively compiled application for mobile, web, and desktop. It is fast, expressive, and great performance. Now, I haven't tried the web and desktop yet, but I can tell you, Flutter rocks on mobile, and you'll see it today. So this is to get you the feeling of how when you write Flutter. So this is the code. This is the stock project when you like create an app from Flutter, but no. Let's do a live demo. Who's interesting? Yay! Woo! Okay, so this is Flutter. This is the stock project. You can see it on the app here. So there's nothing like complex going on here. So this is the app, and there's a button on the bottom here that you click, and it gets the counter gets incremented. All right. So now the code would look like this. Now in Flutter, every UI component is a widget. So the way you build your UI is you implement the build function here. This. So for example, this screen, you would like have a scaffold, like you compose all the widgets together. Right, you have the scaffold, you have the app bar on the top, you have this text with the counter in the center, and you have floating action button on the bottom. So what happens when you click the floating action button? So the on press here gets called, and the set state function gets called. The set state function would increment the counter. And when the set state gets called, the Flutter framework will rerun the build method, and all the UI gets rebuilt. So the text will get rebuilt with the new value, like this, okay? So now, you might have heard something called hot reload, right? It would be like this. So let's say I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna change the background color for this button to red, and hot reload, there, it is red. And you can see that it is a stateful hot reload because the 8 is still there. You don't lose the state. Now, let's get back to the slides. So, okay, so now, what is so good about Flutter that I have to get up here and talk about it? Okay, so I'm gonna like give you the example of of give you 3 examples that Flutter excel in mobile development, okay? So the first one is, this is a typical scenario when you develop mobile apps, right? There are times when you have a list of items that you have to show, and maybe you got like 100 or 1,000 of them, and you can't just put all of them together in a single scroll view, right? You need some kind of recycle mechanism, right? So in Android, you would use a recycler view, right? And then you're gonna have to like create an item view, and you need your view holders, and you need to create an adapter. You buy the data there, and don't forget to set the layout manager, otherwise you get a blank screen. Okay, now from the iOS side, I'm sure you get something similar. And now let's see how Flutter did it. Flutter did it with just a single widget. Now I'm gonna show you another demo here. Let me just, okay, hit hot reload. There, this is a another app. So basically, this is just it fetch the GitHub user and show you the info and all the repository and all the contributors here. All right. Now, let's have a look at the list here. Okay. So in Flutter, you have this thing called listview.builder. This is a constructor. How you would build a list is just you create it and you give it a build function. You give it an item builder, which is a build function. It is gonna be like building the child on demand. All right. So this is simple. So in the build function, if you're gonna build the first item on the top here, it would be the info. You just return it right here. And for all the other items, it would be a repository here. So that's easy. And so typically when you like build this kind of layout, you're gonna want a separator, right? And Flutter is so thoughtful, so they give us another constructor here. Separate it, and let me just uncomment here. Hot reload. There, the separator, easy. Now, let's get back. So the next one is custom view. You know, when you like see the same kind of view popping up everywhere in your app, you would create a custom view that you can reuse everywhere. But in Android, this is so much pain, you know, because you need your XML layout, you need the class, and then all the attributes you want, you're gonna have to like define all the attributes, and in the constructor, you need to retrieve them, and you also have to like expose them programmatically too. That's a lot of work just to create a custom view. So on the iOS, I have been told that this is not much of a pain, but let's see how Flutter does it. So actually, you can see it right here, the repository widget here. This one. This is a custom view, kind of. So it accepts all the parameters through the constructor here. And the way you do things is you just create a widget, extend from stateless widget or stateful widget. And you have your properties, you got them from the constructor, and you build your widget right here. And that is easy, unlike Android. Now, the next point. So there are times when you need to send the user to another screen, and then let them do something, and you get the result back. Now, this is the pain too, right? On Android, we have like start activity for result. You get the request code, And then you're going to have to override the on-activity result. And you check the request code if it's like your request code, and then you use your result there. And there's a constraint on the, you can send only parsable or serializable too. Now, on the iOS side, you create a screen, you give it a delegate, you present, and you get your result back in your delegate, right? So the point is, these two, when you send the user, you navigate to another screen on one function, and then you get your result back in another function. You lose the continuity here. It's like sometimes you just forgot. Now with Flutter, you send them to another screen, and you get the result back right there. Now I'm going to show you this. So you see the plus button right here. So if you press it and give it a GitHub username, let's use mine. There, hit OK. Then it's going to fetch a new one, all right? And this is the sample. This is my colleague. He helps a lot. So let's see how it works. This one. OK. So in Flutter, when you change the screen, you create a route, and then you push it through the navigator. And this, what is that is, it's going to return a future. The future is represent asynchronous work, and there is a wait keyword here. So you can await for the future to be resolved and get the result right here. And it's easy. So when you get the result right here, you can like use it right here. You still understand what you do. Now, this is also a typical scenario when you like want the user to do something only if they are logged in, right? So what you typically do, you would like check is logged in. If they are logged in, and then you're good to go. But else, you're gonna have to like send the user through the login screen or the registration flow. But with the navigation mechanism from Flutter, all of the login or even the register flow, the whole flow would be abstract in only one future that you can await right here. Now you have seen that Flutter can makes a lot of things a lot more easier, right? So on Monday, you go to work, you go tell your boss, and say, well, let's write everything in Flutter, yay! No, right? No, you can't actually do that, because in reality, you have existing apps, right? You don't get a chance to like rewrite everything in the tech you want every day. But there is a way for you to like incrementally adopt Flutter. So what you can do is you create Flutter as a module. Now, and so you can like adopt it screen by screen or module by module. You have your Flutter module, you develop it independent from the host app, from your existing app. And on Android, you would integrate your Flutter module as a single AAR or Gradle dependency. And on the iOS, you would integrate it as a pod. It's kind of easy. But let's face it, you don't really enjoy that, do you? Well, for once, I don't really. Because let's see, there are these pain points in Dart, right? So there's semicolon. For a lot of us, there's a game changer here, right? There's also no value types, like there's no struct, there's no data class. So the way you do things in Flutter here is like you create an abstract class, and then you run a generator. And also that type system right now is not now safe. So what happened is you start treating every single variable as nullable. So you get like these safe call or null checks everywhere. And a little complaint from me, the IDE support could be better, Well, compared to Kotlin, of course. And that's my team at Fastwork. Yeah, they agree. Now, what if we let Flutter do what it does best, which is the UI? And if there's some way for us to write like Kotlin or Swift to do what it does best, the logic, all the complex code would be like written in the language that we are more comfortable with, that would be good, right? That would be good. So it would be something like this. We have the Flutter UI, and we got the Kotlin code on Android side. We got the Swift on iOS side. But then you get these two duplicate logic here again. Now, I'm going to tell you that Kotlin multi-platform can help you with this. So in a Kotlin multi-platform project, you can write code and you can target multiple platforms. So typically, you would have your common Kotlin code, which is like platform independent. And then you would like have an Android specific code, iOS specific code, and you would like integrate into your Android project as a Gradle module. And for iOS, you would build it into a framework. And you can use it just like any framework that you get from like Cottage. Now, this is what me and my team come up with. This is the architecture. It's kind of like MVVM plus Redux, but it's not really. So, and I would like to call it CDux because it's short for Simplify Redux. Now, let me tell you about it. So on the right side here, we have the Flutter UI. And when something happens, let's say we want to, like the user will refresh and we would like to fetch new data. The UI will dispatch an action to the store. Now, what is store? So it's kind of like wheel model, I guess. And then the real Redux, when store got an action, it would like go through the middleware and the reducer, right? But since this is a simplified version, we just do things in store. And then the store would execute the logic, whether it be like a simple API calls, or you would abstract it into a repository, or you have the whole clean architecture set up here. Go wow, your choice. But let's say for this example, it would be just an API call. Now, when the store got the result back from the API, it would update the state. So it will push new value into an observable of state there. And our UI will constantly observe the state. So whenever the state change, the UI will re-render accordingly. And we also have, let's say the fetch fail. We also have another observable of event that you can send the event to the UI, so you can like subscribe and like show toast or like snack bar or dialog. Now, let's use Redux with this Kotlin multi-platform and Flutter. So what we do here is we are gonna implement the UI in Flutter, of course. And on the left-hand side here, we would have the store and all the logic implemented in Kotlin multi-platform. And you have the, you can see on the center here, we have a proxy store here. So what happened is when the UI dispatch an action, it would dispatch to a proxy store. There's no real actual work being done here. It would get forwarded to the real store in Kotlin side, and everything happens. And then the state got updated and propagate back to the UI. Now, I'm going to show you the real code right here. Okay, so let me just switch the project. So this is another app that I have pre-installed. So this is the same UI, but all the logic is in Kotlin. Now, what happened is, you remember the plus button here, right? This is the same thing, same stuff. So when the new username comes in, we dispatch the fetch action with the username. And with dispatch, the action gets sent to a channel here. Now, what is channel? So the channel is actually a method channel. This is a way for, this is a Flutter way to communicate to the native side. So you can see that we have this channel set up here now. And I'm going to show you how to integrate this with on the iOS side. So let's jump to the app delegates here. This is app delegate. Now, okay. So this is also how we set up the same channel on the platform side. You set it up right here. Set a method call handler. You can see that the action would like get sent to this mysterious figure here, sent to this home source Flutter channel, which is actually a class from Kotlin multi-platform. Now, you can tell when something is come from Kotlin by looking at this. When there's a KT, that's from Kotlin. So this multi-platform project got built like into a framework already, and I import it right here. This is core from Kotlin. Now, so what home store Flutter channel is kind of like how we create a store on the multi-platform side. And we have a lot going on here, you guys. We have like all kind of stuff. It's too much. But you can see the important thing here. We have the observable of state and observable of events here that you've seen on the slide. And then the action will finally propagate it to our real store implementation right here on the Kotlin. So when the action is here, now this is a coroutine. This is when you get the action, and then we start to fetch stuff, right? So this is a launch function. This is Kotlin thing. This is coroutine. It lets you like write code like async await code, similar to. So what happened is we're gonna set state, tell it it's loading, get the user. This is asynchronous here, but you write it as if it's a synchronous code. Now, when you get the user, you just set a new state, or if anything wrong happened, you just push the error there. And finally, you get the it works. Now let's try this with my username again. Okay. Oh, it works, God. Okay, so let's get back to the slide. So there, it works. But this is not like, so when you do this kind of stuff, you lose the ability to like hot reload on the Kotlin side, right? But you still can do on the Flutter side too. And there is also a lot of setup you have to do. I mean, this kind of thing is kind of like trade-off that you're gonna have to make it for yourself. And that is my team lead, and he approves. Why? Because at Fastwork, we are doing this. We have an app built with the native code. We have Swift, Kotlin, we have Flutter, and we also have the Kotlin multi-platform. So you can go ahead right now on the App Store, and you can download and play it for yourself. And of course, it's live on production. Yeah, and that's about it. That is how Kotlin met Flutter. And this will be a good time for you to take a photo here. There's the links. On the top is the sample repo. And also, if you guys have any question, this is a good time to ask. So I don't actually.
Does anyone have any questions?
Oh, we have one question on the front here.
Okay, so the question is, I want to know if it's easy to debug because there's the native side and there's the Dart side, which is Flutter. So I want to know if we want to debug something, then is it easy to do it?
Okay, thank you for the question. So let me just show you. So we have like these two sides, right? We have the Kotlin and Flutter. Now in Flutter side, I'm going to run right here. I hope it works. So in the meantime, I'm gonna show you the project setup. Oh, is it too small? Anyway, it runs. Okay, so on the dot side, let me just, okay, let's see, I'm gonna put a debug point right here and hit there, you get the debug. This is typical for IntelliJ. You get everything here. Is this the debug thing you tell me about? The multi-platform. Okay. So well, this is a little more complicated because well, actually, you can do that too. I'm gonna have to spin up an Android emulator here. Oops, this is concurrent made easy made by Ju, my colleague. Wait. Actually, I haven't done this before. So at Fastwork, we have a different kind of setup. So this is the so the sample right here is I create a Flutter app and then use the Kotlin multi-platform to the platform channel, right? But at Fastwork, we have our existing app, and then we use a Flutter module to bridge it. So the way we do things there is we would build our Flutter app, integrate it, and then we run our app just like any normal native applications from Android Studio. And then we can like hit a debug point in the Kotlin native side. I'm sorry I can't show you that today. And thank you for the question. Oh, we got another question there.
Did you say that you already have this on production, right? The
Yes,
question
yes.
is, did you have any kind of critical issues or the problem that you have faced, and how did you solve that, or anything, or there is any problem that you cannot solve right now? It can be critical or quite buggy or some kind of tedious stuff. Anything, I just want to know.
Okay, yes. There are a lot of issues there. A lot, you guys, I mean a lot. so the biggest challenge to do this is the setup, because we did this back in, so we started our project using Kotlin multi-platform with native apps. So we got to go through the somewhat vague documentation of how you're gonna set up Kotlin multi-platform on iOS side. And then like 2 months later, we decided let's bring in the Flutter. So we're gonna have to like dive to all the samples, all the GitHub issues, and then we set it up. And there is also issues with, so Flutter works, it works when you, it works like perfectly when you develop it on its own. But when you do the module integration, there's kind of a lot of weird stuff. Like right now we have the WebView plugin in Flutter, and the WebView plugin is a native view inside Flutter. So we have like native Flutter and then native again and this stuff. And there's this issue with the input when you like try to copy something from the web view and it crashes. And some of the issue you can find a workaround, and but some there's still some issue that we are still finding the solution. Thank you for the question. Are there any? Oh.
So, assuming there are not too many bugs, after that, when you decide to add Flutter to your mobile application, how much extra space is it going to take up in your APK or in your Swift package?
How much size, right? You mean the size?
Size.
Yeah, it's you got a lot on iOS side. You get like 30 megabytes. I can't remember, but it's a lot. And on Android, it's not much. On Android, it's not much. I can't remember the exact number. Sorry. Are there any other question? Oh.
May I ask a quick question about code duplication? Because there's two sides, there's the Dart side and there's the Kotlin side. So I assume in order to make the type checking work, then are there any duplication in the code? For example, do you have to declare the type in Kotlin and then declare the type in Dart?
That is also a good question. Yes, we have to duplicate something. So the states, we have the store here, and we have this home state like this. It's just a user and a loading. You can see that this is declared on the Dart side, and I believe we also have the this home state. I can't find it right now, but yes, we're gonna have to duplicate the data model on both sides. And we are, and right now it has been done manually, but in the future, I and my team are trying to like do something like a generator, so you don't have to duplicate it yourself. Thank you.
Last question, anyone?
From the Flutter limitation, what kind of application that should or should not use Flutter?
Okay. So the question is it Flutter good for which kind of application that Flutter is good for, right? Okay. So I would say any kind. So it's you can do basically anything with Flutter. So let's say if you want to like access some native API, we also have the method channel that you have seen. So if Flutter can't do anything, you can like delegate back into the native side and let it do its stuff and get the result back to Flutter.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Travis, for sharing these great sessions.